This is Quiet Conversations with Jada Raquel. Shh. Hey everyone, welcome to the Quiet Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Jada Raquel. If you're new, thank you for joining for the first time, and if you're not, thank you for coming back. The title of this episode is Stamp, Stops, and Photo Ops, and if you can't already tell, we're discussing all things travel, the importance of traveling the world, living and being intentional, and creating the life that you deserve. So we're gonna get into a life update, then a story time, and then the episode. So let's get into it. I have been MIA for about 2 weeks, and I am so sorry. We have not dropped a new episode in a while, but here we are, back and better. It is a different location. I am at my man's house, girl. I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm here, and I'm filming. So I can't not film because I'm not in the same environment. So I'm trying to stay consistent. So here we are, a new episode. But I did celebrate a birthday. That's why I was MIA for the first week. Then when I got back from my birthday trip, I got sick. So here we are. I was on that trip. Your girl became a fiance. I know that's right. Your girl became a fiance, okay? My man proposed to me on my birthday trip, not on my birthday. My birthday trip, okay? Period. So let me paint the picture. So my birthday happened April 1st, boo boo. I'm an April Fool's baby. Love it. Best birthday in the world. Best day in the world. Celebrate my birthday with just dinner and some hood shit. We went to some hood place. We had some drinks. It was R&B night. I had a time, okay, girl? I changed my shoes, took my heels off, put some flats on, and we partied. We got drunk and we had a time, period. On April 3rd, we went to dinner again, and he specifically asked me to wear black. So I wore all black dress with my birthday shoe, which was a Giuseppe heel. Very comfortable, by the way. It has a little platform at the bottom. Very comfortable. And yeah, we went to dinner. We went to Maple and Ash. They sang me happy birthday. Food is great. 10 out of 10, recommend. And he said we had an excursion to go to. And I was like, what? And I'm the type of person, I'm rolling with the punches. Cool, you got an excursion plan? Let's go. And then, boom, your girl the fiance. So here I am, fiancéed, okay? Period. So that's the reason why I've been MIA, birthday trip, fiancéed, sick. And now we're here and filming. Let's get into the story time. You guys know I always use a story time to reference how I got the topic of today. So let's paint the picture. Again, it's 2020. COVID-19 is in full mode. And people are sick. People are dying. These are scary times. And I'm not trying to make light of this situation at all. It was a scary time. I've never been in a global pandemic. I'm not sure if my mom has, my dad has. I'm not sure. But it was a scary time, and nobody really knew what was gonna happen for the world. Everybody just knew that we were on lockdown, we had restrictions, and I was in the living room with my family. I think we were watching the news, and we just found out that there was a travel ban that had restrictions. If you needed to fly, you had documentation to prove that you did not have COVID in order for you to get on a plane. So I remember we were all in the living room, and my older brother flat out had said, I'm not traveling for the next 5 years. I don't know if he was serious. I don't know if he was playing, but all I know is that I'm not gonna wait 5 years to travel. Because in his mind, he said, I'm not gonna travel for 5 years so I don't catch COVID. That's what he had in mind. In my mind, I could catch COVID anywhere, and I did. Like, you could catch COVID anywhere. It don't matter where you are. Like, you not traveling is not gonna stop you from catching COVID. That's how I viewed it. And at the time when travel restrictions were announced, my boyfriend at the time he just got laid off. And then when a week after travel restrictions went into effect, I got laid off. So you know what a couple does when they're both laid off and money is coming in? You go on vacation. So we got a round trip ticket, flight and hotel, a week in Miami for $440. Yeah, $440. I had a blast. Did I catch COVID in Miami? No, because we were safe and we were smart. When we were on the plane, we double masked. When we were in the airport in general, we double masked. When we were outside in Miami in a crowd of people, we masked up. When we were by ourselves, we didn't have a mask on. We did not catch COVID at all in Miami. I also went to Curacao with my best friend and her cousin. That was a time. We had a time. And then I didn't end up catching COVID until a year after in my house. Right. So I brought up that story time because I wanted to just give people knowledge and insight on like why traveling is so important, how much you can learn from traveling the world, not letting the world and the news fearmonger you into believing that your life has to stop or come to a pause just because the world is crashing down. America has been crashing and falling and crashing and burning down since I was a kid. That's not stopping me from traveling the world. Like, I think when we went to war with Iran, or just in general, like all the things that was happening in Mexico, my brother was like, "You're still going away for your birthday?" Yes, I am. I'm going away because I'm not gonna let whatever Trump got going on with his people now mess up my birthday. I'm the birthday, not him. So let's get into the parts of the episode. So the first part is privilege. The second part is what are you scared of? And the third part is grandma was and still is her. I know that's right, I'm grandma. So let's get into the episode. Part one, like I said, is privileged. And I just want everyone to know that I do understand now how much of a privilege it is to travel, especially travel as much as I've traveled. Ignorantly, I didn't realize how much of a privilege it is, and I just want to break down when I started traveling and how and why I'm so exposed and comfortable to travel as much as I do. So my parents, like I've said in previous episodes, are from the Caribbean. My parents are Grenadian. My grandparents are Grenadian on both sides. Great grandparents, and back and back and back and back. I am Grenadian through and through. And when I was a kid, when I was born, my mom and dad shipped me to Canada so my grandmother could take care of me for a couple of months. So first international flight, straight off the womb, okay? Straight off the bat, international flight, international girly pop, okay? Then when I turned 4, my maternal great grandmother passed, and the whole family went down to Grenada for her funeral. Rest in peace, Dada. That was my girly pop. And that was my second international trip at 4. But again, not going anywhere crazy. These are just my family, where my family resides. My grandmother and aunt were in Canada, and my parents and the rest of my family are Grenadian, and we went to Grenada for a funeral. I spent a lot of my summers in both countries, bouncing back and forth between both countries. My parents were very intentional about making sure that I was immersed in my culture, whether that was in Grenada or in Canada around my Grenadian relatives, so that I'm able to like pick up on food, like recipes, pick up on just things that we do as a people. And they really ate with that. I think I had mentioned this in a previous episode. My parents really ate with that because I am so comfortable in Canada and also in Grenada. Like, I'm so comfortable. I love being around my people. I love just listening to my music, soca, jab, reggae, all of that. Like, I'm just so comfortable with and being around my people, and I feel like my parents were very intentional with me knowing my culture, where I come from, being in the bush, jumping in the river, walking around, like just being immersed in my culture. And I spent one summer in New York and I hated it. As I say all of that, I realize now as an adult how much of a privilege it was, one, for my parents to have someone watch me for the entire summer. I'm sure they were outside. Me and my brother were gone. They were outside, as they should be. Like, yeah, I get it. So shout out to them, okay? Shout out to them. But what a privilege it is to have been able to send your kids to your parents so that you can have a relaxing summer. What a privilege it was to have been able to afford a ticket to send your kid to whatever country that you chose of your choice. What a privilege it is to have a passport. Let's start there. What a privilege it is to afford and be able to have all your documents to get a passport. Have the money to get a passport. Like, I remember my parents even expediting my passport a couple of times so that I can travel. And again, like, when I was a kid, my mom worked on Wall Street. My dad is a union construction worker. Like, they were getting to the bag. And I'm just so grateful that, again, and privileged to say that my parents' intentionality behind me traveling like sparked something in me that I didn't even realize existed, and also didn't realize was a privilege from the get-go. I do know that it is a privilege to travel, but I also do know that traveling, I personally feel like, is essential to everyone's lives. Traveling opens up your mind to different things and makes you realize that the town and city that you grew up in is this big. I know that there's a picture somewhere that you've seen before that excites you, that makes you feel like you want to visit that place. I say put some money aside or start saving towards getting a passport if you don't have it. Some money to side to get your documentations in order to pay for it, and also pay for a passport, and also then pay towards your ticket. We are in scary times right now. You should not have an expired passport or documents that aren't up to par, or a little change on the side. Like, I'm just saying, we in scary times. That also is a privilege for me to say that, but we need to be just as prepared as possible, and not just to travel, but when it's time to, okay? Because America, like I said, is going to shit. I know there's a picture out there that you've seen that makes you want to visit that place. Make sure that you fulfill that dream. Make sure that you fulfill that goal so that you are not regretting it in the long run. You deserve to be able to visit all of the countries or all of the things that you have pinned or saved or screenshotted. You deserve to visit all of those places, and I encourage you to save towards that. I encourage you to build towards that. I encourage you to visit that place so that you don't regret it in the long run when you get older. I had a guest on season 2, Ariel Bertley, that discussed as we get older, the excuses become more frequent. When things, when you're young, spark something inside of you that when you get older, you still want to do it. And then if you have kids, you introduce your kids to it. So I do believe that even though traveling is expensive, you can afterpay it. Yes, you can. Hello. Even though traveling is expensive, even though things are tight, even though America is going to shit, make sure that you are putting your little coins to the side so that you are still able to experience life, experience experiences, be immersed in culture. Say that you were able to visit this country just because it was on your bucket list. I would hate for you to just have a list of countries or a list of beaches or a list of cities that you've always wanted to go to. You reach 80 years old and you never even took the first step to go and explore it. When you travel, you're never gonna be like, damn, I should have never came. God forbid something happens to you, I'm sure you would say that then. But most of the time you're having the best time of your life, and you will never regret going. You will never regret going to a beach, sleeping, eating, and sunbathing all day. You will never regret wiggling your toes in the sand. You will never regret swimming with dolphins. You will never regret hiking that trail and seeing the sunrise. You will never regret dancing with locals and eating tacos at 3 o'clock in the morning in Mexico. You will never regret it, because in your city that you're from, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then you'll be able to come back and show people pictures and tell your nieces and nephews stories about the times and the things that you experienced in that country. So again, I would say put your little coins together on the side. It is a privilege to travel, but I want you to be a part of that privilege. I want you to be able to experience that. I want you to be able to experience that joy that traveling brings me and can bring you. If you've never traveled before, in part 2, we're going to discuss tips and tricks on how I prepare for my trips and experiences, and what you can do to also prepare. So let's get into it. So here we are in part 2, which is, what are you scared of? most of the time when people say that they aren't traveling right now or they aren't going anywhere, it's due to a fear that either someone else told them or a fear that they created themselves. And I just want to let you know that you're never gonna be able to know what a country really is like from someone else's perspective. People do not travel the same. And on top of that, you need to go and immerse yourself in that place before you create a narrative behind it. You don't know what, for example, Mexico is like. Mexico has such a bad rep. I love Mexico. I've been to Mexico like 4 or 5 times. And my mom is just like, that's just somewhere I don't need to be. And it's like, yo, I've never felt unsafe in Mexico. I feel like I'm in Grenada when I'm in Mexico, certain parts. It's like, it's such a beautiful country, but it has such a bad rep, obviously, because of cartel and stuff like that. But it's an amazing country and full of culture. You cannot allow other people or things that you see on the news to give you an idea of what a country is like. People be thinking America is like the top of the top, the best country in the world. America is a third world country with a Louis Vuitton belt on. Yeah. There's other countries outside of America. There's other countries outside of Canada. There's other countries outside of the UK that is way better culture, better people, better food, sunshine, all of the things. And I think that you should do everything that you can to visit that place and have an idea of what these different countries are like. And that goes into my next point. Traveling isn't about a passport stamp. It's about learning about the place that you're visiting. It's about immersing yourself in people's culture. And also, I feel like it's about finding yourself and figuring out what type of traveler you are. I am both a vacationer and a traveler. I like to sit by the pool and relax myself and unwind, but I also like to be with the locals, dance with the locals, eat local food, adventure, explore. I'm in the bush. I'm in places that I'm not even supposed to be. I'm like in museums. I'm learning about the culture of the place that I'm visiting, the people, the food. I'm educating myself just as much as I'm relaxing. But you also learn the type of traveler that you are when you travel. And also you learn the type of people that you want to travel with. I'm a very 7 a.m. wake up person, go on my excursion, but I also could be a lay on the beach, lay by the pool all day kind of person. It just depends on the vibe of the trip, where I am, and what the itinerary is looking like, and who I'm with. Because me and my best friend, we very much do travel exactly the same. We both love to visit and be immersed in the culture and stuff like that, but we also need a day. We went to New Orleans one time and we was out and about. We left the group, we did our own thing, and then the next day after we did all that, we stayed in until like 3 o'clock and watched movies. And then we went outside. And then we got drunk. It just depends on who you with, and you need to be able to find people to travel with that match your energy, but also learn how to travel solo and enjoy your own company. Traveling and visiting a country or a place one time, whether that be in America, outside of America, or outside of wherever you're from, that can grow your curiosity to other places, and it makes you want to dig and deep dive into other countries. For example, some of the countries, one of the things that I really want to do, it doesn't matter what country I'm on, it just needs to have a beach. For some reason, I seen a girl on Pinterest ride her bike in a bikini, and she had like a basket of fruits in her bike basket, and her hair was curly, and I'm just like, this is me. This is me. I want to be able to ride a bike on a beach in a bikini with my girlies, with my man, by myself, whoever. I just need to be able to ride a bike on a beach in a bikini. Those 3 B things. My 3 B's. Ride a bike on a beach in a bikini. That is my dream for some reason. I don't know if in my mind is the most freeing thing that I would be able to do on vacation, and I can't wait to accomplish that one day. And I say all that to say, once you go one place, and especially now that we have TikTok and we're able to see different countries from people's perspective, it's like, wow, now I want to go here, now I want to go there, now I want to go here, there, and I'm able to create an itinerary and a list of different things that I can experience on my own or with my people. Restaurants, beaches, adventures, hikes, all of the things that you can now create with people's perspective and people's knowledge and, you know, just people's experiences, and you can apply that when you finally go. One thing I will say, make sure you do your research when you are traveling. You need to make sure that the country that you're visiting to, the destination that you're going to, the area that you're staying at is you friendly. So I am a dark-skinned Black woman. There are a lot of countries that do not protect women in general. There are a lot of countries that do not care for Black people and Black women. So just make sure you do your research and make sure that people that look like you will be welcomed in the country that you're traveling to, even the city that you're traveling to. There are a lot of racist places in America, so do with that information as you will. Again, even do your research, but also don't let the fear take over your experience. Don't allow fear to overcome you. Don't allow fear to let you change your mind. Things happen in the world all the time. And they show it on the news all the time. That's why we have world news. World news is there to keep us updated, not there to scare us. Please take the information that you get from the news, put it at the back of your head, but also continue to live your life. Because one thing I'm not gonna do is stop living my life just because America's going to shit. America's been going to shit since I was a kid, and I'm not gonna stop living because of that. Right. I'm gonna give you guys a few steps that I do when it comes to preparing for travel in general, for a trip, like don't have a trip plan. Just these are the things that I do to prepare for a trip. My camera is dying, so let's make this quick. So step one, I always research a place that I'm curious about. I watch a lot of travel content on YouTube and on TV. I like travel shows. I do recommend Tracee Ellis Ross' solo traveling show. She shows you and tells you the reason why and how she got into solo traveling, why solo traveling is needed for any and everyone, and also the culture that she is immersed in those different places. I think in season 1 she went to Mexico, I think she went to Marrakesh, and then I don't remember the next place. Like I said, I've been to Mexico about 5 times and love it. That is a place that I feel everyone should experience. Second thing I would say is to start saving. Even if it's $1 a day, $1 a week, $5, $10 a week, whatever. Save towards your travel. I have a Chase credit card that I can swipe in another state. At dining and stuff like that, I get points, so that's a way that I build towards my travel points. But also I have a Ally savings account, which is a high yield savings account, so I put money in that every single time I get paid. And in Ally you can create buckets, so I have 2 buckets in my Ally, a car savings and also a travel savings. So if something happens to my car, I already have money allocated, and I use that money if I need to fix something on my car. And if I am traveling, I will swipe my credit card and use that money to pay back my credit card, and any expenses that I use on my trip, I would use that money to pay back my credit card. That's just how I do it. Figure out what works for you. That works for me. The third thing is find a place that you really see yourself solo traveling to. I believe everyone deserves a solo travel adventure. I didn't go on that yet, but I do plan on doing that in the future. And another way I feel like you can prepare for a solo trip is get familiar with the environment. And if you're not familiar, take someone with you to get familiar with the environment, and then go back to that place alone. Now you're comfortable with the place, now you're familiar with the place, and you know your way around that location. Lastly, once you pick your place to travel to and you've done all your research, this is your time to create your itinerary. So this is the time to find out where people shop, the best places to shop, best restaurants to go to, best adventures to go on, beaches to visit, all of the things, which is my favorite part. You have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have Instagram. These are the you also have Pinterest. Use your resources to figure out which places are the best places to go to on your upcoming trip. That's how I prepare for trips that I want to go on and are planning to go on in the future. And I also read the news. Just stay up to date on what's going on in the world. Stay up to date with what's going on in the country that you plan on visiting, but don't allow the news to scare you, put fear in your heart, because like I keep saying, we have to continue to live even though the world's falling apart, period. I'm going really fast and I'm so sorry, but because my camera is dying, but I hope in part 2 you are able to put together a list of places that you would want to go. What are you scared of? You have one life to live, and this is the time to live it while you're young and hot and free. Okay, I know that's right. So let's get into part 3. So part 3 is your grandma was and still is her. This section is just basically gonna discuss like the importance of making sure that when you do go on vacation, you're printing out your pictures and you're making sure you're documenting all of those times spent with the people that you love, or documenting those times that you had by yourself on a solo trip. We need to get back to the photo albums in the living room. Even if it's not in the living room, photo albums, period. We need to get back to printing out pictures. I've said this before, printing out pictures and making sure that the photo albums are on display so you can go through them every now and again. I always said I want to make sure that I am living the best life that I possibly can, so that my grandchildren can look at those photos and know that grandma was that girl. Grandma was that girl by herself, with her friends, with her man, with her family. Grandma was her. And I want people around me, people that listen to my podcast, I want my friends, my family, my partner to also travel and experience these new and amazing places so that they can be that girl when they're 85. Yeah, I was that girl when I was 16, 17, 25, 35, 45, but I'm also that girl now that I'm 85. Yeah, don't get it twisted. And also, like, I want to be able to have a conversation with my grandchildren or even my children. Mom or grandma, I just went to Tulum, and I'm like, girl, back in my day, Tulum wasn't even developed when I went. Let's go. Like, let's go back so I can see what it looked like now. You know, girl, look at how Tulum looked when I was young compared to how it looks now. Like, these are the conversation I want to have with my kids and my grandkids so they know, like, travel, go, experience the world, go explore, because grandma did, because mommy did. She sure did, and she didn't stop just because she had you. I know that's right. I always say you don't want to get older and realize that you did not live the life that you promised yourself. You didn't experience the things. You didn't go out when you were broke. You didn't go out when you was hungry. You didn't experience the world. You didn't splurge because you wanted to. Like, sometimes it's fun to be a little irresponsible. So take the trip if you a little broke. And when I say a little broke, I mean take the trip if you got $300-$400 spending money. Take the trip if you got $200 spending money. I'm older now. We ain't doing that. But if you're 21, 22, you're still in college, take the trip with your friends. Even if you broke, take the trip with your friends because you're never going to get that time back. Experience the broke trip with your friends. Experience the broke trip with your man. Experience a solo trip by yourself so you can discover yourself. That is so important. And make sure you are printing out your pictures. I feel like I say this every season. Print out your pictures so that you can remember what you looked like when you were younger. You can remember what it felt like to be that age, because we experienced so much in our lives. We forget when we went to an event, when we went somewhere, when we experienced something. So most of the time, pictures can kind of spark that memory. And you don't know, girl, what if you older and you develop Alzheimer's or dementia and that one picture could bring you back lucid? print the pictures out. Print the pictures out. It can get pricey. Do it in moderation, but make sure you print the pictures out. Get that photo album and place those pictures all around your house in frames. Like, we gotta get back to that. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I'm pushing y'all to make sure that your life is the best life that it can be. Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want that? You want a life that is so fulfilled that when you're on your deathbed, you're like, yes. Why am I laying back? Child, when you're on your deathbed, you're like, yes. I lived the best life that I could. I lived the best life that I promised myself. And I explored, and I had adventure, and I had love, and I had a little lust. And I am so fulfilled that my time has come. You know what I'm saying? Something dramatic like that. Go out with a bang. Like I said before, sometimes being responsible all the time, that's a little boring. Sometimes you gotta live life on the edge, you know? And sometimes that lack of responsibility, that irresponsibility could bring you the best memories ever. Even when you're being responsible, you're gonna spend the money anyway, so you might as well put it towards a trip. Even if you don't book the trip in full, even if you maybe put the trip on Afterpay, even if you probably save towards the trip, the money is getting spent either way, so you might as well save towards it. You might as well save towards it. That is the end of part 3. Let's get into the quiet shuffle, which is a quick question segment that we have on the podcast. So the question is, what is a small decision that ended up changing your life? Small decision that ended up changing your life. I would say staying at the college that I went to. I went to University of Bridgeport in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Hated it. Everybody knows I hated it. Said that every single day. I hate the school. I hate the school. I hate the school. I want to transfer. I want to transfer. I want to transfer. I didn't transfer because I met my man. Yes, I know. I know, child. All for a man. I stayed at the school that I hated. But I was having a time. But me staying at that school made me push a little harder because the communications program wasn't the best. So I feel like the lack of resources made me push harder to get the career that I'm in today. I know I always talk about working in media and communications, but I like to emphasize that working in media, you need experience and connections. And Bridgeport had no connections. So I had to put myself out there to create the experiences that I needed to put on my resume in order to get a job. And that's exactly what I did. Every break that I had, I was working both retail and an internship. Every break from my second semester, freshman year to my senior year, I had an internship and I had a job. So yeah, going to that school and staying at that school, that was a small, quick decision. And on top of that, I became a Delta. I also love my line sisters down. Like, I feel like we were meant to be in like the most craziest way. We have so many different personalities, but like we just meshed together so well. And shout out to my profiles because they ate that down with the picking and choosing of the line. And yeah, that is a small decision that I made to stay at my college and not transfer out that changed my life. So I don't have a random question today since I am at a different location. My bag of questions is back at my studio, but I just want to wrap up this episode to say that I hope that I gave you a little bit of courage to put yourself out there, to travel as much as you can, and just set a date or pick a place or just start researching on places that you are interested in. Traveling is a beautiful thing that brings me joy, and I hope that you are able to get a piece of that when you do plan on traveling in the future. Don't forget to save as much money as you can, put money towards that trip, do your research, prepare, but also make sure you have fun and you are documenting your adventure because you will never get that time back. So I love you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Quiet Conversation podcast. Again, I'm your host, Jada Raquel. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, download, post notifications. Please do all of the things on all of our platforms. And please stay tuned for next week's episode. Love you so much. Bye. The Quiet Conversations podcast is hosted, directed, produced, written, and edited by Jada Raquel.